The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices.
They're mine. They're not yours. You had no right to them when you were alive, and you have no right to them when you're dead. You say
That's what it sounded like.
good, you know who I am. And you know I'm not playing. You're going to let those women go. In Jesus' name, you're going to let those women go.
Demon here watching us right now? Watching us
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
What is up, Misfit Sugar Ladies, Monster Lovers, and Demon Hunters? It's your boy, old boy. Good afternoon, evening, whatever it is. What's up, motherfuckers?
Tonight's episode is going to be interesting. On tonight's episode, we are going to be discussing pets, animals of all kinds. And more specifically, we're going to be tackling the question that was asked of, can animals, specifically they were talking about, cats, dogs, stuff like that, pets. But we'll do that and just animals in general. Can they be influenced or taken over even by demonic or malevolent entities? So that's what this show is going to be on tonight. So I think to start this one off, we'll look at a couple pretty well-known examples of this. We'll go to the Bible. There's a scene in the New Testament where Jesus comes up on the shore, and he comes across a man who is possessed by a bunch of different demons. Okay, this story I know very, very well. I've studied it very well. It's actually where I got the inspiration for the name of the demon in my novel series, I Am Legion. And the man is possessed by Legion. And in the Bible, what they're talking about, Legion isn't one particular demon. It's just meaning a multitude, many, many demons. So Jesus cast all of these demons out of the man, and he cast them into a big herd of pigs. And the pigs go crazy, and they run off a cliff and fall to their death. So let's break down this story from the New Testament. Here we see that Jesus cast out many, many demons out of this man. Okay, so that answers one question that we're not actually dealing with tonight, and that is, can a person be possessed by more than one demonic entity? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. If I have time tonight, I'll talk about that a little bit more because it's a very interesting subject, and it's kind of what I do. I do emotional and spiritual healing. I cast out demons out of people. So that's kind of my specialty, what I do. So I'll definitely touch on that if I have time. Also, we learned that the demons that Jesus cast out of this man were cast into a herd of swine, of pigs. So that tells you right there that, yes, demons or demonic entities can actually inhabit and possess animals. Okay? So what happens when the demons go into the pigs? Do they just hang out? Do they just kind of wallow in the mud? No. The pigs go mad, and they run off a cliff and fall to their death. Okay? So that tells you that the demonic entities absolutely can influence the host animal, because they did with all those pigs. And it wasn't just a single pig that ran off the cliff. It was all of the pigs ran off the cliff. Okay, so that tells you that they can definitely influence because it's repeatable. It has happened on multiple occasions here in this story. So right there from that one Bible story, we get the answer of yes, they can inhabit or possess animals. Yes, they can influence the animal. So we need to break that down a little bit more, kind of expand on that point. If a demonic entity can influence its host animal, can it use that host animal to influence a person? That's a good question. That's an interesting question to look at. So to do that, let's go all the way back to the beginning of your Bible, in the book of Genesis. The story that everybody knows about of Adam and Eve, when Eve is tempted by the serpent. Okay, in this example, the devil tempts Eve through this serpent to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. A lot of people think that the forbidden fruit was an apple. I don't think it was an apple at all. I think it's pretty impossible, because if you look at where Eden actually was, the Garden of Eden, it was over in the Middle East area, and over there they don't grow apples at all. They never have. So most likely it was a fig or something like that. But anyway, that's getting off the subject, but it's an interesting little thing. The serpent is used to tempt Eve. The devil speaks through this serpent and convinces Eve that the only reason God told them not to eat from that tree is because if they did, then they would be like God. Okay? Now here is a very, very important point, because here you have not only the answer to that question of yes, a demonic entity can use an animal to influence a human being into sin and turning their back on God. But also here you have in the very, very beginning the foundation, one of the foundational principles of Satanism. Okay, one of the foundational principles of Satanism is that you are your own God. Okay, that's kind of the point of Satanism, is that you don't have to believe in the creator God, the one that made us. That instead you can be your own God. You can be as God. Okay? It's to love yourself, to elevate yourself to the level of God. And it's kind of funny how a lot of these satanic people and full-blown quote-unquote Satanists that belong to the Church of Satan and practice the satanic religion, they claim that it has nothing to do with Satan, with the devil. It's just named after it, but it has nothing to do with it, and that they don't even believe in God. But if you read your Bible, right in the very beginning, in the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, we have this taking place between the devil, okay, Satan, using a serpent to tempt Eve to eat the apple, right? The forbidden fruit, what people call an apple. It's actually probably not. I already covered that. But to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. To elevate herself to the level of God, to be her own God. So the number one foundational principle of Satanism we see in the book of Genesis is actually coming straight from Satan. So to lie to yourself and say that, hey, I'm a Satanist, I don't even believe in God or Satan, that Satanism has nothing to do with the Satan of the Bible. It's just named that, but it has nothing to do with him. It's a lie. Okay, it's a flat out lie. Because right there in the book of Genesis, we see that it absolutely does. Number one in their commandments is that you are your own God. And that's the origin of it right there. So we see 100% demons and demonic entities absolutely can inhabit or possess animals. They absolutely can influence those animals to do harm to themselves or others, and we'll get to that in a minute. And they can influence that animal, use that animal to influence a person, a human being, to commit sin and turn their back on God. So that's pretty important answers. Okay, that's some pretty important stuff we've covered already, and it's only a couple minutes in. Why is it important? Other than the fact of losing your salvation, ending up in a position where you burn in hell in the lake of fire afterwards for all eternity. That sucks. You don't want to do that. Okay, but other than that, we also see that for a demonic entity to attack you, it doesn't have to just attack you. Okay, and that's very, very important to understand how these things work, how these things actually attack you. A lot of people will say that they're not being attacked or influenced by demons, but they don't understand how demons work. See, they have this idea in their head from a horror movie where the demon's going to show up looking like Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Its head is going to spin around. It's going to projectile vomit green pea soup across the room. It's going to have sores and all kinds of horrible festering boils and stuff all over its skin. It's going to look like something from the pits of hell. That's what people think. But that's not what happens in reality. In reality, a demon is going to attack you a whole different way. It's going to be moving in the shadows. It's not going to be right up in your face. The biggest goal for a demonic entity, how a demonic entity would measure success, is if you don't even know it's there. Because if you don't know it's there and you don't realize that you are being influenced, then you can't stop it. Because you have no idea what you're fighting, so you can't possibly win that fight. So it's going to fly under the radar. It's not going to come right up in your face and attack you. You're not going to be putting up your dukes and having it out with a demon. That's just not how it works. It's going to attack you. It's going to attack your family. It's going to attack your health. It's going to attack your finances. It's going to cause car issues. It's going to cause accidents. It's going to cause your animals to act in weird ways and maybe attack you. Okay? All of that's very, very important. And it's also very important for paranormal investigators to understand this and to know what they're dealing with when they go into a situation. Because too many people have no idea what they're doing when it comes to demons. There are some that claim they do, but they have this idea of demons like from the Exorcist movies. That's what they think. They think they're going to go in there and they're going to attack a demon and they're going to be like, the power of Christ compels you, and do some movie exorcism and it's gone. That's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. Okay? I want to break down really quick for you how demons actually do attach to you and how they hold on and how you get rid of them. Okay? This ties in with the process of emotional and spiritual healing that I do. So basically what happens is, in everybody's life, they go through trauma. Okay? Trauma, and here's a spoiler alert. I know it's shocking, so don't get too freaked out already. Trauma is traumatic. I know, wow, right? Profound. Trauma is traumatic, and it causes a wound in your very soul. Okay? The wound in your soul is just like a wound on your body. It festers. And it can become infected if it's not properly taken care of. So what happens is you go through a severe trauma, a bad traumatic event, and it causes this wound in your soul. Now, a demon will come along and it will attach itself to that wound in your soul. Now, it doesn't attach directly to the wound. What it actually attaches to is the negative emotions that are associated with that wound. Okay? So remember, I said that it's trauma that creates and causes this wound in the soul. So when you go through that trauma, there are emotions involved in a traumatic event. That's obvious, okay? So whether it's fear, whether it's anger, whether it's jealousy, whether it is rage, whatever the negative emotion is that you're feeling when you're going through that trauma, that emotion will be connected to that wound. It'll still be there. And that is what the demon will attach to, the negativity around that emotion, and it will feed on that. And it will stay with you, and it will infect your soul. So it is very, very possible, and almost always the case, when you go into one of these situations with somebody who has an attachment, a demonic attachment, and they're having a lot of issues in their life, that you're not just dealing with a single demon that you can just cast out and move on. That's not at all how it works. What you're usually dealing with in most cases is dozens of demons, sometimes hundreds of demons that are attached to this person's soul in different wounds. Each trauma creates another wound. Each wound has all these negative emotions that are connected with it. So in order to get rid of these demons, in order to actually help the people, what you have to do is go through the emotional and spiritual healing process where you walk that person back through the trauma that they went through. Bring those emotions back, just like they were going through it again. They have to be able to feel these emotions again. Once those emotions are on the surface and they're present, then you, through prayer, hand those emotions over to Jesus. The person has to do this, not you. Like me, when I'm walking you through this process, I can't hand your trauma emotion over to Jesus. You have to do that. It has to be a conscious decision you make. I'm walking you through it, but you got to do it. Okay? So you hand those emotions over to Jesus, have him take them from you. Okay? Then you take a break and you relax. Then you go back into the process again, back into that same trauma. Try to feel those emotions again, see what pops up. Some of them will be gone. Some of them won't be gone. Some new ones may pop up that you didn't know about. Okay, cool. Then you deal with those. Same process. You hand those over to Jesus and you work your way through the process. You do this several times until all the emotions are completely gone. When you think of that trauma, you don't feel them anymore. Okay, then you ask Jesus to heal that wound in your soul. Once that wound is healed in your soul, then I will cast those demons out through prayer. That heals the wound. Demons are gone. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Then you move on to the next one. Okay? Every single case I've ever worked where I've had to do this, every single one of them have been multiple wounds, multiple demons per wound. Okay? Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes weeks. Sometimes it takes months. There's been cases where it's taken years to try to get these people completely healed and okay. But here's the good news. Once you go through this process and you heal the wounds in the soul, you cast out all the demons. If that person is walking with God and they're doing right, and they don't go through trauma anymore, they're good to go. Now, if they go through trauma, same thing happens again. But now you know the process, you can get on that right away and you can heal that wound. You can deal with those emotions. You can hand those over to Jesus yourself. Ask him to heal the wound in your soul, and you'll be straight. You don't have to worry about it, okay? It's only when these things get a firm attachment and they fester that they start causing major issues in your life. Now, with animals, it's a little bit different because animals, you can't really communicate with them, okay? I can come in and I can anoint your animals with holy oil or holy water. I can cast out any demons that are attached to them or influencing them. But an animal can't really communicate with you. So an animal is not going to be able to tell you exactly what's going on. So it makes the process a lot different with animals. Basically, what you want to do if you're a paranormal investigator and you're dealing with a demonic infestation is you want to make sure after you go through all this process with the person and get them cool so that they're no longer dealing with the issues. You're going to want to go through and you're going to want to bless the house, every room, every corner, every window, every wall, everywhere. Don't miss anywhere. Okay, you're going to want to anoint the whole place with uh, holy water, and you're going to want to say blessings over the house and every room, and you're going to want to seal that place off. Okay, you're going to want to do the same thing with the animals. You're going to go through, you're going to anoint the animals with the holy water or the holy oil. You're going to cast out any demons that are attached to them or maybe trying to influence them, and you're going to clean the place. Okay, that's how you actually handle the situation. So we know 100% that they can be attached, they can be influenced, they can be possessed, and they can be used to harm you. Okay, one of my rules that I do most times when I go in a case, unless I really know the people and I know the animals, but even then, I'm still very careful and wary. Is when I go and work a residential case, I try to make sure that if they have any dogs or cats or anything like that, that they are secured. Okay, most times when I first meet with people, I don't meet them at their home. I will meet them in another location. I'll have them meet me at a park or something like that, and we'll sit down and we'll do the interview and we'll talk. And then I'll kind of get a feel and a read on what's going on. If I have to go into the place, then we want that animal secure until it's time to deal with that animal. So whether that means putting it in like one of the pet bed kennel like things, or locking it in a room like the bathroom or a spare bedroom or something where it can't get out to us, that's the way to go. Because I have had cases before where you have dogs and you have cats that have attacked people on the team because they are being influenced by something. And that is a very, very real possibility. And you got to be very careful because, see, a lot of people think, well, I'm safe. I'm a Christian. I'm saved. I'm not going to get possessed. So I don't have to worry about it. But just because a demon can't possess you doesn't mean that it can't attack you. Okay, you can still be attacked. You can still be scratched. You can still have demons attached to your life that are trying to screw things up for you. You can still be attacked by animals or people that the demons are influencing and sending after you. So you always have to be on your guard. It's very, very, very important. So I hope that that has answered some questions for you guys. I hope that that makes sense in your head as far as how these things actually work. And it was fairly easy to answer that question. And see, now that's a question that a lot of people struggle with, believe it or not. I've seen other paranormal shows and some fairly big name people who've gotten it wrong when asked that same question. And it's one of those things where it's very easy. If you're dealing with a question, a spiritual question like that, then the best possible source is the Bible. If you just go to your Bible, it'll tell you the answer. The answer to most things is there. When you're dealing with demonic things. I always think it's funny how atheists and a lot of the pagan people will laugh at you for reading the Bible. They'll laugh at you for believing in God. And they say horrible derogatory things to you too, like you're an idiot, because you believe in some man in the sky sitting on a cloud. Okay, well, first of all, nowhere in the Bible does it say that God's a big man in the sky sitting on a cloud. But that's what they say to you. But these are the same people that believe that you're going to just pick up some crystals or some rocks off the ground and somehow harness energy in those rocks and use them to heal people and all kinds of silly stuff. How do you think that what I believe is stupid, but that makes sense to you? Some of the new age stuff is really dumb. Really, really dumb. And there's zero science backing it up. And now see, here's a point we can get into, and it's an interesting discussion. I say that there's no science backing up most of this New Age crap. But those same people will counter back to me, well, there's no science proving the Bible. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that you said that to me. Because there absolutely is. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there was a worldwide flood. We even know when it happened. Okay, it was around 11 to 12,000 years ago that there was a worldwide flood. It was the end of the Younger Dryas period. Okay, that's where some major extinction level events happened then. Scientifically proven, recognized, and acknowledged by scientists all over the world. There absolutely was a worldwide flood. That proves the story of Noah's Ark, at least the portion of it where the Bible says the world was flooded. And for a long time, people laughed at that. Okay, people laugh at the story of Adam and Eve. And they laugh at the idea that only Noah's family survived after the flood and repopulated the earth. But we know scientifically beyond a shadow of a doubt, there have been studies, DNA studies that have been done that have proven that around that same time, when the world was flooded, around that time, that our modern man, everybody on earth now, we can all be traced back to either two people or a very small group of people. So in other words, either two people or a small family of people. We all go back to those people. So that proves either the story of Adam and Eve or, once again, the story of Noah. Proof of the Bible. We have got multiple cities that are talked about in the Bible that have now been found. They weren't found until modern time, where archaeologists actually dug them up and said, oh my God, this is the real life whatever, right? Whether it's Sodom, Gomorrah, whether it's Jericho, whatever it is. There's been multiple that have been found that were cities from the Bible that people thought were fictional places that were just from the Bible stories. But now we know actually existed. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jesus actually existed and walked the earth. There are Roman records of his crucifixion. We know it happened. Okay? We know that the early church, right from the beginning, said that he rose from the grave. We know it. 100% we know it. Okay, now you can say, well, that wasn't true. But let me kind of put you there for a minute. The early church, these people were being tortured and brutally murdered for what they believed. Now, to save themselves from unspeakable pain and suffering during torture and death in horrible ways, all they had to do was say it was a lie. All they had to do was say, yeah, not true. And they'd be spared. Those people died willingly because they knew it was true. The disciples that actually knew Jesus, that actually walked with the man, most of them died in horrific ways. Whether it was tortured and then beheaded, or their skin being peeled off and then killed, fed to lions. These people knew Jesus. They saw him die on that cross. They saw him rise from the grave. They knew it was true. All they had to do was say it wasn't, and they wouldn't die. They knew it. Now let me ask you this. Who dies in a horrific way for something they know is a lie? Nobody. Everybody that dies, that chooses death, being tortured and murdered in horrific ways, everybody that does that believes 100% that what they're dying for is real and true. Now think about that the disciples knew Jesus. They walked with him. They knew him. They knew better than anybody ever whether it was actually true or whether it was a lie. Do you honestly believe that every single one of them would willingly choose to be tortured and killed in horrific ways for something that they knew wasn't true? The only reason you would die that way, the only reason that you would allow yourself to be tortured and killed when you could easily get out of it, was if you knew it was true. If you knew that when you died, you were going to see him again and have to answer for what you did. That's why they were tortured and killed. They could have just said, hey, it's all BS. Jesus ain't real. He didn't rise from the dead. It's bogus. But they didn't. They stuck to their story. Nobody does that if it's a lie. Nobody willingly suffers like that for something that ain't true. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to throw it over to Old Boy and get his opinion on everything, and then I'll be back to wrap up. So, Old Boy, go ahead, brother.
Good evening, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the show. It's Old Boy from your favorite show, Staring into the Abyss. The show's going to be about, James is you already listened to James's part. What's my opinion on, and what do I think? Do animals get possessed? Do cats, dogs, can they? And I'll tell you what my theory is and what I think. Do pigs, cats, horses, any animals, all kingdom. Fish I never heard of, but we'll get into that too. Like I said, this is going to be one we're going to be talking about for a little bit. Sorry, my beard's getting longer and longer all the time, guys. If you see, getting older, man. Shit, June I'll be 46 years old. Let me fix this for a second, guys. So, do I think that animals can be possessed by demons or spirits, or can see spirits and stuff like that? That's another thing we'll talk about in a minute. That'll be another thing we'll add. I don't think cats can. I think cats can have sixth sense, so they can see and know what bad things or negative things are around. So I don't think cats can. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I've never heard of any cases with cats being. I don't think cats can. Now, I know in the Bible it said it got. I think Jesus casted them out to pigs, and I know that one time he could have casted out the spirits, but the person wanted him there. But that's a person. Person, yes, I believe very much they can be. I think they can be taken over by multiple spirits. I've dealt with it. I also think that dogs can. Wolves especially. Like, remember Amityville House? There was supposed to be a black dog. It put a form of a black dog, or kind of like a wolfish black dog, and that, was supposed to be in the basement. And I think certain animals, not all. I think there's some that don't want nothing to do with it. Like owls and stuff, I don't think they can. Birds, I don't know about ravens. I think there's stories about ravens. I don't think ravens and birds can. I think they work with them. If you want to know weird, that's another weird concept that I have, and an opinion I have. I don't know what people are going to say. Oh, birds. Well, they can't. I think certain ones do. Not all, but I think they also know. I had a case that I was doing with a while ago. A lady's bird knew this thing was attacking them, and she claimed, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard other issues with birds. I think birds have a sense that, just like cats. I don't think spirits like cats for some reason. There's something about that, or they do. There's arguments on it. But what I have seen, they don't like each other, and they know when something is around, because my cat does. My dog, not too bad, but it knows stuff is here. But my house used to mess with the dog at first when it came here, and now it doesn't really bother them. Like horses, no. Sheep, stuff like that, no. I think wolves and stuff like that, there's a reason for that. I think they're could be used in another way. You know what I mean? Like even with skinwalkers and stuff like that, they supposedly transformed into like dogs or weird creatures or like kind of like a wolfish or a deer or stuff like that. I think deer, there's an argument about that because they said that it has happened. I don't know if you can. But being possessed by demons and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't think on cats. I think certain animals, yes. I think it's happened. It's proven, like dogs and stuff like. But there's no the reason why I don't think so. I only think if it's going to attack somebody, or it hides them and jumps to the next person. That could happen. But animals can't communicate like we can. I don't think it's impossible. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm wrong. You guys are wrong. Or it's a good question. This is a good show, man, because this is something I've always thought about, and we finally did a show about. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. And tell me what you guys think in the comments. We always want to hear what you have to say, what the backlash or what you think is. Remember, no arguments. Be nice to each other. Love each other. We all are different. Remember that. That being said, I don't know. I know there's a bunch of cases of this happening. I've seen it on TV with dogs especially. I know they could kill them. I know they could do stuff. So it's probably possible. Maybe some certain kind of animals like wolves, lions, stuff like that maybe. Don't know too much other than that. Like I said, this isn't going to be a long one I'm going to be doing because, you know, there's not too much I could say. You know, I just listened to what James has said and tell you guys my opinions, and I try to get it going for like 15, 20 minutes, but something like this, it may not. Now, do I think they attract demons and stuff? Yes, I think they can. I think certain animals can. I think certain spirits don't like dogs and cats because they can sense they're there. They can't really hide with them. They could see them. And I think that's why they always go after dogs and cats. Wolves are more territorial. And I think if they want to use something to kill somebody or get somebody, that may be why they do it. Because wolves are killers, man, especially in packs. They're pretty deadly. And most people are around wolves, like tigers. I mean, I know there's stories of tigers and stuff like that in other countries, maybe even snakes. There's rumors of snakes can be controlled, and that's a possibility. Like I said, not impossible, guys. I'm not going to sit here and say something's real or not real when I don't know. I don't know the facts on everything. I do know that I think certain snakes and stuff like that can tell when something's around. They know negativity. They know what's bad and what's good. I think dogs especially, we know cats do. I think horses can. I've read stuff about that before. Pigs, because pigs are supposed to be really, you know, they're really smart. People think they're just stupid, and they're not. They're actually really, really smart animals. They're really smart animals. People really take them for granted because they think they're just fat and they eat everything. They're actually really smart. People make them as pets, like potbelly pigs and stuff like that. They're pretty smart. And some people say spirits have been casted in pigs. It's in the Bible. A couple parts of it. I don't know the exact verse. James probably will know where to go, and he'll tell you where to go. That's why I said I'm not going to be the one to... I'm probably the last person to start quoting Bible quotes for. But, you know, sorry, the beard's it's going to get trimmed this week. It's getting a little too long. Like, it gets froey. So sorry, guys, you can't see my lips, but I'm trying. Give me 1 second. Let me clean that off. There we go. That's better. And now, do I think that if they are, they can attack people? That's the other one. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I think they can kill people if they want to. If they have a certain animal attack somebody, yeah, I think they can do that. That's very easily done. It's not impossible. I pretty much 100% figure that could happen. So, yeah, imagine it. You know, if you're a demon or a spirit or a vengeful spirit, what's the first thing you do? You see say that you're in India in the jungles, or you tiger. I get a tiger to kill you. Here in Alaska or something. Oh, there's a giant. Now, do I think bears? Probably, maybe. That's a possibility. I'll just have a giant bear kill you, a grizzly, tear you in half, or a wolf. Or I'll get a dog, a mean dog, to attack you and kill you It's possible. I mean, it's not impossible. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna say it's impossible because I know there's cases of it. There's cases of certain things happening. I know there's cases of them killing animals, dogs, cats, horses. Those are birds. Those are the main animals usually. So those are the ones that get taken out. They kill them because they know what I've always seen, they either bother the dog and cat till they scare to death, or they die pretty much. I never seen them chasing people or anything like that. I don't think it's impossible. I mean, it'd be an easy way to do it. That's probably the best way to do it if you're going to go that route. If they're going to do that, I don't speak for spirits. I don't know how they think. I don't know if they can even think. Maybe they can. They're not stupid. They're probably really smart. They're probably smarter than us. I don't think all is evil either. I don't think it's all demons and devils like everybody thinks. I think there's people who just were so miserable and evil that they just got stuck here. And that's just my opinion. And there's some people who had tragic endings. I have a theory I want to do people think death, you can escape death? Kind of like Final Destination. There we go. I'm always setting up another show. I wouldn't mind doing that show soon. You think that you can escape death? Because I've seen people done it and they get away with stuff. And like the guy who got away with 9/11 and then he died like a month later in a plane crash. That really happened. He didn't escape death, and maybe they let him go for a month and he got it back again. But I don't think death skips anybody. Maybe you can play death for a while. Maybe you can skip. Maybe you're lucky enough. Maybe you weren't supposed to die at that time. Maybe you were died a month later. Maybe that's a possibility or coincidence. I don't know. I'm just saying on that one. But this has nothing to do with the show. But next, maybe we'll do that show soon. I don't know, man. Do they hide in the animals, like the spirits themselves? I think it's impossible. It'd be very easy to do because, like, if you have a cat and it's possessed by a demon or something, you'll never know. Maybe the cat will just play it off, and the demon will get pets, and that's how it sucks your soul. I don't know. I don't know what they do, guys. Like, I'm just throwing out examples and stuff like that. That was a little much, but you know what I mean. Or a dog, maybe it's just waiting around to kill you, or suck your life force from you, like a psychic vampire does. Kind of like drains your energy. Maybe that's what demons do altogether. Maybe, like James said, there's sometimes that, he believes that God lets things happen, and it's just meant to happen, and leave it at that. And there's nothing you can do to get rid of it. It's his will. That's his belief. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that belief. Don't have any issues with that theory or belief. I don't know if I 100% believe it, but I'm not going to argue it. It's a possibility. I don't doubt anybody's opinion just because I don't believe in the same thing. That's just, I listen to everybody's what they have to say. I try to. There's some it's just so ridiculous it's pointless. They're never going to change their opinion. They're always going to have their opinion, and it doesn't matter what you say or prove. They're always going to have a rebuttal to it or argue with you and have this said and that. That's why I don't get into religion. I just don't want to do it. It's not worth it. The arguments, the fighting, it's just not a good thing. And that's why I try to stay away from it. Now, I mean, then it would be like tactical. Like, say that if I was a spirit and I got into a bird, a crow or something, and I kept crowing at you, but I'm just trying to set you up so I could take over your body. That's a possibility. Animals, birds. I don't know about insects. I don't think that happens. I think they go to animals that can think. And birds can think pretty well. They're pretty smart. A lot of people underestimate birds and ravens and crows. And I think a lot of people give crows and, ravens bad names because of, it always reminds them of death and stuff like that. Vultures, another bad, they eat, when you see vultures flying around the dead, I think they could go into vultures. I've heard stories of that one. I don't know if I would do that, but I guess, I guess if you're stuck in the middle of the desert and you want to jump animal to animal, maybe a coyote to a bird to a, to a lizard, back to forth, and then jumps into a human. Say a human walking, there's a human family walking by or camping or something, and you can jump into them. Well, that would be the easiest way. You'd never know. There's nothing you could do about it either. You would never know what's going on. You would never know what happened. You will never know what is there till it's too late. It's a very possibility. There's a lot, and not only that, it doesn't have to be. I mean, there's a lot of Indian burial grounds. A lot of people were murdered in the desert. I mean, killed, Indians, cowboys, people who came here, the pioneers, the natives before them, all over the place. Sometimes, and in other countries, it's all different scenarios. It's not impossible. There's a lot of haunted places in this country, especially in Salem area. A lot of witches people were thought to be witches and were killed, and for witchcraft, and most of them were innocent. And they did horrible things to them before they admitted to they were witches. And we all know that. And James did a show about the witches trial. And it's pretty interesting. You guys can check it out whenever you guys get a chance. If you guys get a try, check it out. It's a really good show. James gets very much in depth of what happened with the Salem witch trials, and there's the vampire witch trials. The vampire trials that people were thought to be vampires, and they did the same thing. I think in Romania and all that, in the Eastern European time, people were thought to be vampires, and they did the same thing, or witches, or witchcraft, or they changed into like Dracula. The whole animal thing. Dracula changes into a wolf or a bat. Or snakes, or in Dracula, Brad Stoker's like a werewolf kind of looking thing. Kind of changed that. He could change into vapor and fog. So he's like a shapeshifter, kind of like a skinwalker kind of thing. It's kind of like that. I'm trying to keep from the subject, but I mean, it's got to do with animals. So, and Dracula is one of my favorite stories. I know everybody likes the Dracula movies, especially Brad Stoker Dracula. It was a pretty good one. So that being said, now do they get sent to attack humans or kill humans or take over human spirits? Yes, I really think that that's happening. That's a real possibility. The demon controls these animals. You'll never know. This is different. I think maybe they evolved to figure out humans are they can fight it to a point. I think that's true. They can never be 100% taken over. Unless they let themselves get taken over. And even then, I think you could change your mind. I think with a dog and a cat ain't going to really resist. They're not going to fight you all the time and go, oh, well, I'm done. I'm going to not do this no more. That's not how it's going to work. Do I think they sense things? Oh, yeah. Well, that's one thing that's true. I 100% believe all these animals, horses, cats, pigs, they all know when something's around. Especially my animals, they know when something bad's going on. They know exactly what's here. There is, I do a lot of things. I know you guys know we do. And some of the stuff we deal with is really bad. And I don't let people come in my room and not because of that. It's because I have stuff in here that I dealt with, and I have equipment and stuff that I don't want nothing to get attached. So you can get cursed by something that you shouldn't be seeing in the first place. Maybe on TV or a book, but not in person, because if something attaches, it even says it could attach to you. They give you warnings. They make you sign paperwork. This thing of people trying to, I'm going to tell you something. This thing of trying to be scared to get a scare, guys, don't do it with us. They can come into anything, your house, your family. They can come after your animals. They can come after everyone. They can come after you. They could kill you. Trust me. It's happened. Unfortunately, we had the issue with something that happened in Virginia. It was a little bit to do with it, but the guy just couldn't get away with what we were trying to help him for years. And he just didn't care, and he ended up passing away. And there's a lot to it. I don't know the whole story. Maybe James could tell it one day. I don't want to get into it. But sometimes this ends wrong. It doesn't always end well. I'm not saying all the time, but there's not always a happy ending at the end of the rainbow, guys. That's what people think. Oh, we can bring in somebody to help us, and it goes away. It doesn't. Trust me. It doesn't just go. It takes a while. Animals, I don't know. I've never had to deal with this one. I know I've heard of it and seen it before. I've read stories. I've never had to deal with that though. I've never had a case where I've had animals attacking people, or I had to go in there and see if the animal was possessed. I don't know how to deal with that. I mean, I could probably do it with a dog or a cat. Anything else, I don't know. We don't know if they're just crazy, they went wild or rabid. You don't know what to think. You don't know if they're even just transformed to that. Like, if they're a skinwalker, they can transform. You know, I believe skinwalkers exist. And so does James. Most people do that are in our field. But dogs and animals, I don't know, man. I know they can sense. I will 100% that. I think some animals do get possessed, but I think it's only for short term. So they could either pass whatever they're going to pass, or maybe kill the human person, or whatever they're trying to do. Maybe fear, maybe use the animal as a fear tactic. That could be very much a possibility. I was just thinking about that one right now. What do you guys think? Like I said, always leave the comments. Tell us what you think can happen. You think this is really happening? You think that dogs can be possessed? Animals? I'm just throwing stuff out there, you know. What do you guys think? Do you think they attack humans? Do you think cats can really see evil? So can dogs and horses. They know when something's around. You could tell they know when evil's around. They smell the sulfur, kind of. They see things. My dog sees things. My cat sees things. They'll look around and they'll see something. My dead cat that died 10 years ago, almost, Schnook. He was a full black colored cat. Fuzzy. Beautiful. Had the mane. Like, he would look like he was a big cat. He was probably like, about that high. I'm just going like sitting on my lap. But he's a big cat. But I see his tail all the time. He's been gone. My wife didn't even know I had that cat. She's all, did you have a black cat with tail? Yeah. She sees him all the time. He comes and visits us all the time. I know people are, you're crazy. No, I'm not. I know he's probably going to see him eventually. He comes in once in a while. He was a great cat. Really good outdoor cat. Loved him. And he even, you know, the sad thing, I loved that cat. He used to like getting pet. And he would come for it. Like, he wanted his attention. But before he died, he was laying on the carpet in the house, and he was an indoors cat, and he pawed at me, and I knew he was going to die. He wanted me to know he was going to die. So we stayed with him till he passed away. My daughter was upset. She was 8 at the time, 9, and she loved that cat. So I gave him his little burial, and that was it. But we see him all the time. And yes, I think animals can be ghosts. That was the last thing I was going to talk to. Yes, animals can be spirits. I do believe that. I believe I've seen animals before. Maybe they're not animals pretending to be animals, but I have seen animals. I think they can come back. Or, you know, like a bird or a cat or a dog, or, you know, something like that. Something that's very special to somebody. I think they can. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think animals can come back from the dead and visit their owners and stuff? I think they can. I don't think it's impossible. I mean, all this other stuff's possible, so why wouldn't that be possible? I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's very much of a possibility. I always thought that. Maybe somebody's dog that was just, you loved that dog, and the dog loved you, and it came back to visit you sometimes. They can visit us. I think they're very loyal. If they're very loyal and they loved us, just like we loved them, I think they always want to see the best for us, just like whatever's out there and whatever you think. That's just my opinion. I think these animals loved us just like a human did, and they wanted us to be happy and see if we're all right, just like they do in real life. They make sure we're happy and we content and we're doing all right, and they're there for us, and they take away a lot of anger and a lot of, you know, they make emergency dogs, you know, dogs, you know, for handicap and stuff like that, and people have a lot of, you know, emotional problems, and they help them out, you know. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let us know what you think in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was something different. It's the first week of February, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Always check us out on Parax Radio every Sunday nights, technically Monday morning, 12 a.m. Eastern, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. The Best Of Show, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 Pacific time on Parax Radio. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you want to go, Twitter, we're everywhere. Just check us out. If you guys got any questions, let us know what you want to hear, or give us suggestions, and we'll try to do a show about it. You guys want to know where merchandise is? James will tell you where to go. Hats, shirts, all that cool stuff. And if you want to subscribe to the YouTube page, go to James Hershey Jr.'s page and subscribe. I just did a show last week, and it was pretty good. It was a guy in Louisiana, really cool guy. Enjoyed the show. That being said, I hope everybody has a good night. Misfit cheerleaders, monster hunters, and demon hunters. I love you, and blessed be, and have a good night, motherfuckers.
Thank you, brother. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope that for those of you that asked this question, that it answered it. I hope that you got what you're looking for here. I think that one thing that we can both agree on is that animals absolutely can be influenced and even controlled by demonic entities. I think I could even go further than that and say that even malevolent entities, if they're strong enough, can influence and in some cases control animals. We all know that dogs and cats can see spirits and that they react to them. They're kind of a, pardon the pun, but they're kind of a good canary in the coal mine, if you will, of paranormal activity. So it was interesting to kind of go down this path tonight because I've seen other people try to answer these questions, and I've seen them get it wrong, frankly. And it sucks when you're looking for good information and you're trying to make up your mind about something and you don't get good information from people. You know, that's kind of what one of my missions always has been here on Staring, is I want to try to give you the best information I can and then leave it up to you to make up your own mind and see what you think, you know. So I hope that I've done that for you tonight. Let me know down in the comment section what you think. As always, up to you. Make up your own mind, and I'll catch you on the next one. Till I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.